The story of Arachne the spinner, or why you shouldn't challenge the gods. Like, really, why? Once, when all the cloths and clothes were woven by hand, there was a needlewoman called Arachne, more skilful than the rest. Her tapestries were so lovely that people paid a fortune to buy them. Tailors and weavers came from miles around just to watch her work on her loom. Her shuttle flew to and fro, and her fingers plucked at the strands as if they were making music rather than cloth. The gods certainly give you amazing talent, said her friends. Gods? Huh, there's nothing the gods could teach me about weaving. I can weave better than any god or goddess. Her friends turned rather pale. Better not let Goddess Athena hear you say that. I don't care who hears it, I'm the best there is, said Arachne. An old lady sitting behind her examined the yarns Arachne had spun that morning, feeling their delightful texture between her fingers. So if there were a competition between you and the goddess Athena, you think you would win? She said. She wouldn't stand a chance, said Arachne, not against me. All of a sudden the old lady's grey hair began to float like smoke about her head and turned to a golden light. A swish of wind blew her old coat to shreds and revealed a plate of silver and a robe of dazzling white. She grew taller and taller until she stood head and shoulders above the crowd. There was no mistaking the beautiful grey-haired goddess Athena. Let it be so, declared Athena, a contest between you and me. Arachne's friends fell on their faces in awe, but Arachne simply threaded another shuttle, and although her face was rather pale and her hands did tremble a little, she smiled and said, A contest then, to see who is the best needlewoman in the world. To and fro went the shuttles faster than birds building a nest. Athena wove a picture of Mount Olympus. All the gods were there, heroic, handsome, generous, clever and kind. She wove all the creatures of creation on her loom, and when she wove a kitten the crowd sighed, and when she wove a horse they wanted to reach out and stroke it. Alongside her sat Arachne, also weaving a picture of the gods, but it was a comical picture. It showed all the silly things the gods had ever done, dressing up, squabbling, lazing about and bragging. In fact, she made them look just as foolish as ordinary folk. But when she pictured a butterfly sitting on a blade of grass, it looked as if it would fly away at any moment. And when she wove a lion, the crowd shrieked and ran away in fright. Her sea shimmered, and her corn waved, and her finished tapestry was more beautiful than nature itself. Athena laid down her shuttle, and came to look at Arachne's weaving. The crowd held its breath. You are the better weaver, said the goddess. Your skill is matchless. Even I don't have your magic. Arachne preened herself and grinned in smug satisfaction. Didn't I tell you as much? But your pride is even greater than your skill, said Athena, and your cheekiness is past all forgiving. She pointed at Arachne's tapestry. Make fun of the gods, would you? Well, for that I'll make such an example of you that no one will ever make the same mistake again. She took the shuttle out of Arachne's hands and pushed it into her mouth. Then, just as Athena had changed from an old woman into her true shape, she transformed Arachne. The girl's arms stuck to her side, and left only her long clever fingers straining and scrabbling. Her body shrank down to a black blob, no bigger than an ink blot, and an end of thread still curled out of her mouth. Athena used the thread to hang Arachne up on a tree, and left her dangling there. Weave your tapestries forever, said the goddess, and however wonderful they are, people will only shudder at the sight of them and pull them to shreds. And it all came true. For Arachne had been turned into the first spider, doomed forever to spin webs in the corners of rooms, in bushes, in dark, unswept places. And though the cobwebs are as lovely a piece of weaving as you'll ever see, look at how quickly people hurry to sweep them away.